So hello and welcome to Kitty Talks. We share inspirational life stories that empower you to create yours. And I'm very excited because today I have with me a pioneer of the health and wellness industry. The gentleman I have with me today is Udo Erasmus, and he is an author, a speaker, and he is the creator of the famous Udo Choice oil, which I know all of you guys will have heard of, and I wouldn't be surprised if you have it in your cupboards. So Udo, welcome to Kitty Talks, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Kitty. Glad to be on. It's very early in the morning in Canada, and but I'm glad to be having a chance to talk to you.
Well, and I already can tell you.
Highly recommended.
Well, I tuned into you, Udo, before we got on this podcast, and I know you're going to have some amazing wisdom to share with our audience because you've had a massive impact on the planet, and I would love for you to share a little bit about your story.
Well, where the story starts is not with oils. The story started, I was born during the Second World War. In Poland, which at that time was part of Germany. And my parents had come from Latvia and Estonia because Latvia was going to the Soviet Union. And my parents loved the Russians, but hated communism because they took everything away from everybody.
Of course.
And so they left Latvia and went to Poland. Part of Poland was given to Germany. There was nobody from Latvia or from Poland at the meeting between Stalin and Hitler. They just took it because they could.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
So I was born in Poland when it was part of Germany. And when I was not quite 3, we were refugees fleeing from Soviet tanks and trucks. And the Allies were shooting at us from planes on the roads that we were fleeing west on. And I got left behind, so I got my orphan experience, and I remember hunger and fear and anxiety, not much else. Eventually, we got reunited, but it rubbed my nose very early in what happens when people don't take responsibility for creating a world that works for everybody. And when I was 6 years old, I heard people in Germany arguing about really trivial stuff. To a 6-year-old, it was trivial. So it must have been like really pretty small-minded stuff. And I thought, there must be a way that people can live in harmony.
Wow.
Because I hated the tension. I didn't like the tension. There must be a way that people can live in harmony, and I'm going to find out how.
At 6 years old?
6 years old.
Beautiful.
And that's basically been my driver. And when I got older, I was trying to figure out how things work. So I was always experimenting with stuff and finding out what was stronger than what. And I once banged a Christmas bulb and an apple together to find out which one was stronger. And of course, the glass bulb broke. And that was a story that followed me for many, many decades.
Never lived that down.
Doing stuff like that because I wanted to find out how things work. When it came to going to university, I went into science because I wanted to know how things work. What can I rely on? Because there wasn't much I felt I could rely on in my early childhood. And then I got into biological sciences because I wanted to know how creatures work. And then I got into psychology to find out how thinking works. And then eventually I got into self-knowledge because what I really needed to know is how I work. And that's kind of my background. And everything that I'm doing has come out of that background, that goal and that background.
And from reading up on you before this interview, it was a health crisis that really sparked?
Well, yes, I would say that the most important events in my life have all been disasters.
Yes, it's amazing, isn't it?
And so it's not like we should avoid disasters, they're tailor-made lessons for us, because we create the disasters ourselves.
Yeah,
most
absolutely.
Of the time. I mean, you're born into some disasters, but most of them we create ourselves. My marriage broke up and I was really upset. So I took a job as a pesticide sprayer because I wanted to kill something. This is true. This is a true story. And after 3 years of being really careless with them as a job,
yeah,
I got poisoned by the pesticides I was spraying. It's like a predictable outcome, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I used to walk barefoot over the lawns that I had sprayed until the skin peeled off my feet. Then I wore rubber boots. I worked with a woman who said to me, "Aren't you worried you're going to get poisoned?" And I said, "Nah, I'm immune." And, you know, they say that men are poisoned by their own testosterone until they have their first serious disaster. So that's what happened to me. And then I was looking for self-help.
Yes.
And the doctors had nothing. I asked the doctor, "What do you have for pesticide poisoning?" Nothing. That's the day that I realized my health is my responsibility. And I kind of knew it, but I really got it that day.
A huge wake-up call, I would imagine.
Huge, yeah. And then I had cancer to look forward to. So it was serious. My palms were sweating when I thought about it. And I then went into the research and looked at everything that I could find about health and nutrition, disease and nutrition. And there were 600,000 studies at that time. I didn't read them all, but I think I got the essence of most of them.
And when was this? What year?
1980, I got poisoned.
Right.
1942, I was born.
Sure.
And then in that research, I discovered how much damage is done to oils when they're being made by industry, and how much more they get damaged when we throw them in the frying pan. It's the worst, stupidest thing we ever invented to do to our food is to fry them. And oils are the most sensitive of our nutrients. They're damaged by light, by oxygen, and by heat. And they need to be protected from those if we expect them to retain their natural forms and their natural benefits. But we don't do that. We actually throw them in the frying pan. We treat them with the least care. They need the most care, and we treat them with the least care. And more health problems come from damaged oil, more physical health problems come from damaged oil than any other part of nutrition. And more health benefits would come from getting our oils made with health in mind and getting the balance between the essential fatty acids right. And so I decided, oh my God. Oh, and then the year after I got poisoned, omega-3 was established as an essential nutrient. It's only in 1981 for omega-6 that was known in 1929. So when that happened, and I was already looking, and I said, oh my God, we could help so many people if we could oils with health in mind. And I know I can't get healthy with these damaged oils. So we should be making oils with health in mind. And oh my God, we could help so many people.
And how did you know? How did you know, Udo, that was what you were like? Because obviously now going into the future, we know how successful the oils have been. But what was your inner kind of conversation with yourself? Did you have a clear knowing that was what you were supposed to go towards?
Yeah, because, and when we talk about purpose, purpose is based on conditions. So if I'm discontent, my purpose is to try and figure out what I need to do in order to get myself taken care of. But if I am taken care of, if I feel taken care of, then I look around, I say, okay, what needs to be done around here? So it's conditional both on my state of being and what's going on in the world that I live in. And this was like that. I had my disaster. I already knew how to feel taken care of, other than my body was wrecked, right? But I knew how to feel taken care of, like to move to a quiet place inside. I was doing that. I started that in 1972. And so when I looked at this and saw the option, honestly, it just lit me on fire. The way I say it, I had an orgasm when I realized how many people's lives could be made better by making oils with health in mind, and then getting them out and bringing back the omega-3s that are too low in 99% of the population that every cell needs. And there are so many symptoms that must be coming from not getting enough of them, and so many symptoms that will resolve when we optimize people's intake.
So what I'm hearing, just for people listening, because what you just described is it's almost like your whole being lit up and told you that actually this was something you needed to bring to the world. And having experienced that, we spoke about the organization that I run before we came on it, and I had the same thing. It was like literally everything told me that this is what I was supposed to be doing. So for people listening, you know, when you get that feeling, that's a very good signpost.
Chase it, go chase it. Because being on purpose means how do you know that you're on purpose? Well, you're lit up. You know, your whole being is lit up by the possibility of something that hasn't been done, needs to be done, and you're going to do it.
And it's interesting, isn't it? You hear all these like terms like it lights you up, you know, and I think until you've experienced what we're describing here, you think, oh, it's a bit like, you know, people say to you, oh, you know, when you meet the right partner, you know, and until you've experienced it, it feels like a little bit of a glib saying, but actually what you're describing.
It's totally, it's a real thing. It really is a real thing. Purpose, you know, because honestly, if there's nothing to light you up, why would you get out of bed in the morning? Or why would you happily get out of bed in the morning? Because it's, oh God, I got to get out of bed, and I got to take a shower, and I got to eat breakfast, and I got to go to work. You know, when you're lit up, when you find something that you have a talent for and that inspires you, then getting out of bed is not a problem.
And how did it unfold? Because I truly believe when we're on purpose, as you describe it, you know, it's almost like the universe has our back. You know, did you experience that sort of sense of, well, usually we have a bit of synchronicities to sort of say, yes, we're going in the right direction.
Destiny,
Yes, exactly.
Oh, totally. Because I had times when I said, oh God, this is so much work. All my friends were partying. I was writing a book, right, on fats, because I thought the information that I had learned, I hadn't learned it in university. I felt there must be people who could benefit from it. So I decided to write a book. And writing a book is tedious, like really boring, like it's really meticulous, like it's time consuming. All my friends were partying. I was sitting in my mother's house. I moved in with my mother because I told her I wanted to write the book. And I said, I can do it weekends and evenings, or I can do it full time. I think full time would be better. She said, okay, you can get room and board at my house. So I moved in with her, and she had a stroke later. So that turned out to be very synchronous as well. And you know, so I was typing on a non-electric portable Underwood typewriter, clack, 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 while all my friends were partying. And there were times when I said, why am I doing this? This is so much work. And every time that happened, when I had doubts about it, something would happen that would say to me, no, you're on the right track, keep going. Because I'm not a guy who, you know, I quit easily. I don't know how else to say that. I quit very easily. I can get discouraged very easily. But there was always something that kept me going. And there must have happened probably 12 times in the 5.5 years that it took to get to know the whole field and write the book. Because that was not in science. I took some courses on fats, but that was not my focus. My focus was DNA, RNA, and protein at university. So I had to learn that whole thing. I had never written a book, so I had to learn how to write a book. I wrote it 3 times. First time, I said, this is garbage. The second time, I got about 30 pages into it, and I said, I wouldn't buy this book. And the third time I wrote it, it literally fell into place. It was 59 chapters.
Wow.
And I wrote 54 chapters, starting and wrote those 54 chapters without kind of like just, I was on I was in a state.
Automatic, yeah, kind of
It was
coming
almost
through
like
you.
it was channeled. I mean, I don't, I'm not, that's not my language, but it was kind of like that. It just came through. And then I had 54 chapters and there were 5 topics, and I just then fitted the 5 topics in. And that was amazing. I was quite amazed that you can get to a point where your knowledge of your work is so clear that you can literally write it from start to finish.
And do you think that's what it was? It was almost the shift, so that every time you wrote the book, it was almost like you crystallized and got more in alignment with what you were saying. And the third time,
apparently, because the first thing I realized when I started writing, I wrote a bunch of stuff just spontaneously, because that's what I'd been told would be the way to do it. And then I would read it and I say, well, what is this? I don't even believe that. And then I would have to go back and say, well, what do I really believe? And it was like I had a social front, and I had my own private life behind that. And then and then breaking out of the social front and writing from the heart, writing from where I really am. That was exposure to me, my childhood was a ducking childhood. The safest thing was always to duck. Because when you stuck your head up, somebody would shoot at it.
Yeah.
Figuratively, when not in fact, right?
Absolutely.
And so I think that, and writing is still a very good process for me to get clear myself inside. So it's a good tool for me to clarify my thinking and my understanding. And even though it's tedious, it's worthwhile. I do a like an inner practice, call it self-knowledge. And I have a book by my bed while I'm doing it. And I've got about 9,000 pages of notes. Wow. That come from insights, that come from getting quiet inside. And then just observing.
Beautiful.
What's going on. It's really cool. It's probably 10,000 pages by now.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't stop.
And that's a daily practice.
Daily practice.
Fantastic. Yeah, I've done Julia Cameron's work, The Writer's Way. I found that very successful.
I haven't read any writers or I took one writing course just to organize, because I have so much stuff that I got overwhelmed. So I have a book that's called The Book on Total Sexy Health, the 8 Key Parts Designed by Nature. And under the umbrella of health, I can actually address every issue on the planet, because everything affects health.
Absolutely. So going back to, because obviously you wrote this monumental book. When did you kind of know you were really onto something? Like, when did other people really latch on to what you were saying?
Well, the first 15 years I was working with oils, I was pretty much broke.
That's determination.
Because I wasn't doing it for money. I was doing it because I felt it needed to be done.
Sure.
And I was really never driven by money that much. I'm still not driven. Like what I do, I'm not doing it for money.
No, sure.
I'm doing it because it needs to be done. And I feel so taken care of.
But it makes it tougher, if again, for people listening to this, who believe in what they're doing, but maybe, like you experienced, it's not taking off. We all want everything to take off that we do really instantly.
No.
Obviously, it doesn't work like that.
Listen, you got a lifetime to take off.
Yes, right? That's a great way of looking at it.
You got a lifetime to take off until something takes you off, right? But you have that lifetime, and nothing done well is fast. And I know that most people, when they start, they want to make a ton of money really fast. It's not about the money. It's never about the money. It's always more about how can you live your life lit up from within? Because the juice of life is already inside of you. How do you get in touch with that?
Yeah, and talk to me more about that, because I saw that you said about the secret of life is to live lit up from within, and I love that.
Yeah.
So I'd love you to just unpack that for me.
Okay, so if I look at if we were in the studio together and I pointed at you, now what is you? But I pointed you and I say, whose body is that? You would say, that's my body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that means you're not the body.
Mm.
If it's your body, you own the body. So you're the owner of the body. So the question then is, well, who is the owner of the body?
My being, my spirit.
Yeah, life. Life is the owner. What is life? You know, life, when it separates from the body's finished. So life is the master. Life is the energy. Life is the power. Life is the knowledge, because it created that body, right? Because without that, the energy of life, there would have been no fertilized egg, and there would have been no cell division, and there would have been no development, and there would have been no fetus, and there would have been no child, and there would have been no growth, and there would be no adult talking to me, right? So I'm talking about that energy, and that energy, you can see it, you can hear it,
You can feel
it, you can taste it. In fact, your senses, their job is to assess energy, to monitor energy, right? Because sound is energy, and light is energy, and feeling is energy, and even taste is energy. But the energy that is your life is what runs you. Weighs nothing, knows everything, does everything, catalyzes everything, and is not affected by what it catalyzes. So your body could be a complete mess, completely broken down. Your thinking could be completely disorganized. Your social scene could be completely dysfunctional, and your environment could be a disaster area. And life, the energy that you are, is not affected by any of it. And life, in the way I look at it, is life is perfect health, because it never gets sick, and it runs everything. It weighs nothing, it runs everything. So if you start to think about, instead of I'm the body, and we live like we were the body, because just about everything we do is to take care of the body. But if you began to look at yourself as life, that would change your perspective pretty much on everything. If because your sense of identity comes from whatever you focus on. So if you're focusing on the outside world, then you become a member of something. Or if you focus on social, then it's different. Or if you focus on your beliefs, it's different again. Or if you focus on your body, it's different again. If you focus on life, it's different again. And if you go behind life and focus on just awareness, it's different again. So who you are and what you think life is and what purpose is depends on where you focus. Right? Does that make sense?
I'm still with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, and so for me, what I do in my practice is I get in touch with the energy of life. I do it every day, because that's the energy, that's my power, that's the power I am. And the body is an instrument for then doing certain things with it. This is not a new idea. It's what all the really wise people over history have talked about.
Yeah, I think you're probably saying it in a slightly different way, because I would probably say it in the sort of larger aspect of ourselves, like the fifth dimensional being aspect of ourselves, the life force energy. And
so the life force, that's what I'm talking about. And we know that's important, because your body is nothing without it. Right? The moment they part company, we call that death. Body goes down and it's finished. That energy is so light. Talk about light and feeling light and being enlightened. That energy is so light that it takes water and dust and raises it from the ground all the way up to the top of your head.
And the other thing I suppose is, because obviously we talk a lot about purpose on this podcast, and obviously the energy of passion, purpose is a very high level emotional state.
Right.
Vibration.
It's even beyond emotions. It generates the emotions.
But it makes you feel good.
Emotions.
But it makes you feel good, because when you're living.
Oh, you feel good. Of course, you feel good. You feel alive, passion and juice, and sexy, and all of that is about the energy that you are. When you're in that energy, it shows up.
Well, you can see it.
When you're in touch with that energy, then you have conversations that people listen to. When you're in that energy, it's not, oh God, I got to do this job. You just go and do it because you can. Because nothing is impossible for that energy.
And what I think's fascinating is it literally, you look healthier, you look younger, everyone I know in our world, I would say the transformational sort of space, they look great because there's so much life force energy and purpose and passion running through them, literally.
Because life never ages.
No, of course. Yeah.
The body does. But there's good research that shows that when you do some kind of a self-knowledge practice, you can actually reverse many of the signs of aging. But your body will still check out one day. So it's not like you live forever. But I'm 77, and I have a ton of energy. People ask me sometimes, how come at your age you have so much energy?
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm not confused about who I am and what I'm here for. And because of that, I don't spend my energy fighting with myself in my head. Should I do this or should I do that? Am I doubtful about this or what about that? And I don't know. And, enormous amount of energy gets wasted in fighting with ourselves. When you're not fighting with yourselves because you live in your life. And you have direction, because it's not hard to figure out what needs to be done on this planet.
Absolutely.
Right? So what am I for? What can I get behind? Anything that needs to be done on this planet that makes life better. Like, for instance, one of the goals, we used to, 10,000 years ago, we had 10 trillion trees on the planet. Now we've got 2.5 trillion. In UK, 90% of the trees have been hacked down.
90%.
90%. Wow. And the trees, like if you think about earth and climate and all of that, the trees, when you come off of a road and you walk into the woods, you notice immediately on the road it's hot during the day. And the moment you get into the forest, it's cool. The trees cool down heat, and they also warm up winters. So maybe we need to plant some trees again because we need them, because we've changed the climate by knocking them down. And if we're going to plant 7.5 trillion trees, that means every man, woman, and child on the planet has to plant 1,000 trees. So then the question is, well, how many trees have you planted? Right?
And for people listening to this, who are searching for their thing, you knew when you came across your thing, your whole body told you that this was, the information you needed to bring to the world. What advice would you have for our listeners who are still in that conversation? They're not quite sure which direction to go. They're not sure what their purpose is.
Yeah, I would say you want to get in touch with purpose. You got to get in touch with life. You got to get in touch with feeling cared for, feeling taken care of, because life is taking perfect care of you. And the way you do that is not by going out there and doing stuff, but by sitting down and getting quiet, shutting up, turning off all your technology distractions, and just sit quietly and breathe and feel what it feels like to be alive. And the first thing that'll happen is you will begin to feel taken care of. And it takes some practice, because we have so much momentum of running out there and doing stuff. And the first thing that'll happen is you will begin to feel more taken care of. And when you feel taken care of, then you can just look around and say, okay, what needs to be done? I can tell you, before I started getting quiet, knowing how to get quiet, I never felt taken care of. And I was always looking, what can I do? There's like a certain anxiety behind that, you know. What can I do that will get me taken care of? And everything I did never took care of me. Because the taken care of is an inside job, not an outside job. When I started sitting quietly and started feeling taken care of, it wasn't hard to figure it out. And then this thing came along. I got poisoned by pesticides, and then I found the research. It wasn't hard because it wasn't about me anymore. I was saying to myself, okay, it's not about me anymore. I'm taken care of. What needs to be done on this planet? And then it's just a matter of question: what do I have talent for? What do I have experience in? What do I find interesting? You know, all of that. But that plays a smaller role. The bigger issue is we will not do on this planet what needs to be done until we feel taken care of. Because job one, if we don't feel taken care of, is to take care of ourselves. And job one, when we feel taken care of, is do what needs to be done.
Well, you can't give from a depleted place. So
sorry?
You can't give from a depleted place.
Right. No, because as long as I don't feel taken care of, I'm a taker. I'm going to take, hoping that something will take care of me. And the moment I feel taken care of, there is nothing left to do but to help. So then I become a giver.
And
now that's different from we've said, you know, we've been told that if you help enough people get what they want, then you'll get what we want. Now that's backwards. Number one, sit still. Realize you have been perfectly taken care of all your life, through all your dramas and all your traumas and all your crazy circumstances, by something inside of you that loves you unconditionally. When you get in touch with that, your life becomes easy. Right? Even though it's hard work and I spend long hours and I don't take weekends off, and you know, my friends are still partying and sometimes I'm still working, you know, but I don't feel deprived. I feel honored. I feel privileged that I even get to do that.
Absolutely.
And all of the problems that need to be addressed, you know, and there are lots of them. In climate, in relationships, in health, in just about pretty much every area. The issue is people don't feel taken care of, so they take. So they don't give. But, and this is the cosmic joke, every one of us who's a taker is actually perfectly taken care of by something bigger than themselves all the time. They're just not looking inward. You know, people lit up from within because the light's already there. It's a matter of looking into it instead of looking away from it. And that's job one.
Acknowledging it.
Yeah.
Recognizing,
acknowledging, experiencing it. And then everything changes. And it's literally, it's a huge change. And then it's like, okay, what needs to be done? Where can I help? You know, and then it's fun. Why? Because this planet is the planet that is precious and special because it has life on it. If we're not serving life or caring for life or protecting life or encouraging expression of life, then what are we doing here? Right? Then we steal each other's stuff, you know, because we don't feel taken care of, so we're takers. Steal each other's stuff, then we create conflict. Out of the conflict come the wars. Out of the wars come massive traumatization and very little, you know, we don't even know how to counsel people who are traumatized. Right? PTSD, the soldiers that come back with PTSD, we're really not very good at it. Now we're getting to the point where we're saying, you know, psychedelics may be helpful in that. There's a whole you know. But the thing is, inside of every traumatized person is something that is untraumatizable, whatever that word is, untraumatizable.
Yeah.
Right? It's already there in every human being, no matter what their situation is, no matter what their history is, no matter what's happened to them. Something in them is completely whole, completely magnificent, unbelievably beautiful when they experience it. How do we find our way back to ourselves? And then purpose becomes easy.
And tell me,
one day my purpose was, to open the garage with my clicker because somebody was looking in her purse for hers, and I just opened the door for her so she could drive her car into the parking place. Right? Yep. That's purpose. It's a little purpose. But and every day there's something. If I'm fully present in all of my being and in the world, in my surroundings, every day I notice where I can help, what needs to be done. And that's purpose too. It's not like everybody has to be a champion of, a publicly recognized champion. That's almost a problem, because that gets back to the old leadership model. We need to all be leaders, first of all, leading our own lives.
Absolutely.
And then just doing the little things that need to be done.
And tell me more about this daily practice, because you've sparked my interest now. So I'd love to know, you said, because obviously we've talked about getting in touch with ourselves. We've talked about acknowledging and accepting the fact that we are taken care of. Yeah. And from that place, we can start to look around to see what needs to be done. But it sounds to me that you've got a powerful practice that could be of interest to our listeners.
Yeah. Okay. So I've discovered, and this is through the practice, that when I do things, I become smaller. Why is that? Because whenever I decide to do something, I have to make a decision. Decision means I have to cut off everything else. So I make it small. I make it smaller. So so that's the doing part, and the being part is when I do nothing, I discover everything. In being, you become everything. Because, if I can use religious terms just because they're familiar, what is called God is in the core of your being. What is called the master is the energy that keeps you alive. The inspiration from that is what some people call the Holy Spirit. It's all within you.
Yes, so get in touch with that inner being is what you're saying through this.
It's always been within you. It's waiting for your discovery. And we've been told by institutions that, oh, no, that's not outside. You. The good stuff is out there somewhere. No, and that's why we're always going out there to look for good stuff. When what we need to be told is that all the good stuff is already within you. And when you and that it requires, we're told work hard and play hard. But there's one piece missing. If you're going to work hard and you're going to play hard, then you need to also do nothing hard. And that's the part everybody's missing. So what we do with our do hard, play hard is we set ourselves up for burnout. And that's a really big issue in the go-getters.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you don't get burned out if you actually sit down and get quiet and do nothing and just feel present. Now, how do you do it? It's less important about how you do it, but that you do it. Because the how doesn't make any sense until you recognize, I have a need for it. And my view of what the need for it is I call it, when your heart aches.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like we like, for instance, if somebody dumps you and you didn't want to be dumped, your heart aches, right? Sometimes you have like a messy fight with someone who you love and your heart aches. Maybe somebody close to you or something close to you that you cherish dies or disappears or leaves, and you feel heartache. That heartache is not about those outside things. Those were our substitutions for not being in touch with ourselves. And that's a journey that begins very early in life. Our senses go out into the world because we need to survive in it, and we have to learn how to do that. Our awareness was inside when we were in our mother's womb, because there was no place to go, there was nothing to do, everything was taken care of, and it was safe. So our awareness was inside, in its source, at rest, in life. And I call the womb the Buddha tank, right? Because there we are floating in our little Buddha tank, nothing to do. So we've spent, if we were a term baby, we've spent 9 months in a Buddha state, enlightened. And then we come out, and then our awareness goes out, and we get disconnected from that source. And that's where heartache begins. And the heartache that we feel when something on the outside gets lost is actually a reminder of the loss of ourselves that began way before that. And that keeps coming back in different ways until we get back in touch with ourselves. That's what the sit still practice is about. But and people won't sit still if they don't understand that they actually have a need for that. And the need is the heartache. So I tell people, you know, and we don't like heartaches, so we try to distract ourselves from it because it's intense. I say to people, no, sit with your heartache. Feel it. Don't judge it. Feel it. It won't eat you. It won't kill you.
No.
And that far behind that heartache is the wholeness that you're looking for. That far. So if you can sit in your in your heartache and see if you can slip behind it, then you might be able to do that on your own, just by sitting still. If you can't, and you should try it by yourself first, then look for somebody who can help you. And, you know, I could, you know, I got to a point where I said, I know there's I said to somebody, I know there's a perfection within me. And I sort of tapped my chest when I said it. I know there's a perfection within me. I know that I'm not connected to it. And I need to find someone who can show me a step. The next day he was there. Wow. You know, because when you're that clear about your purpose, because that's a purpose question too, right? I was very clear about what my need was. And I was surprised when I said it. I was surprised that I was so clear. And then, of course, then you're going to see it when it comes to you.
Yeah.
About your purpose. You could, there's a guy who says, you know, when a pickpocket meets a saint, he sees only his pocket. Right? And if I'm not clear about my need, then I could be surrounded by what would take care of that need, but because I'm not aware of my need, I will ignore it and I will miss it. Right? So and I don't know how you can be, if you don't know who you are, then how can you really know what your purpose is? If you don't know whether you're a table or a chair, then how would you know? How would you know what your purpose is? I don't know any way to get to purpose than by getting to self, than by getting present. And so finding purpose is less an issue of doing than an issue of being, or an issue of not doing. Do nothing.
And that's life's journey.
If you take an hour and do nothing, at least you're not screwing anything up, right? But more than that, you actually begin to get a sense of yourself and what is your place and what are your gifts and what are your talents and what are your what are your ways that you can help make life easier for other people. When your life becomes easy, you're not going to do that. If your life is really hard, you're not going to try to make life easier for other people. But your life is easy Your life is easy. Your thought, your mind, not so easy sometimes. Your life is 100% committed to you, to taking care of you. 100%, unconditional. Your mind is not. If you try to figure out your purpose with your mind is 50% for you and 50% against you.
It's keeping you safe. Yeah. It's keeping you safe.
Yeah.
Doesn't want you to grow.
Yeah, keeping you safe and sometimes even keeping you stupid. Doing really stupid things. Self-destructive things. Right? So living from the heart is where purpose comes from. That's another way to say it.
Beautiful. Really beautiful. So everybody listening, get quiet and be with yourself. And like you said, we are oneness, we are God is within us. And so the answers are within us.
Yeah. Everything. We come fully loaded, come into the world fully loaded, and then we forget, and then we get talked out of it, and then we deny it. And maybe we need to start denying the denial and getting back to that. And then how do you do it the issue isn't so much how you do it. You'll find the way to do it. The issue is that you do it.
Yeah, sure.
And once you understand that there's actually that's important, you'll find the way. You'll find your way. You'll find the people you need to find. There's a law in the universe that when you've done what you can on your own, when you're at the end of what you can do on your own, the help you need will show up without you looking for it. And I know that every project I've done in my life has been like that. And that's how I know that. This is not, nobody told me that there is a law like that, but that's been my experience on every project that I've done. If I start looking for help because I'm lazy, before I've done what I can do on my own, I get the wrong help.
Sure.
And so do what you can on your own, go as far as you can on your own, get as close to yourself as you can on your own. And when you need the help will show up.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Udo, thank you so much. There's been some real pearls of wisdom in this episode. So yeah, if you're listening to this, I suggest you go back and listen to it again. I know I'm going to.
Yeah, and then listen, and then sit still and listen to yourself. But don't listen to your thoughts. Listen to the feeling in your heart.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, well, I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, Kitty.
The show and sharing your wisdom with us. I know that this episode will have touched and reached and really impacted so many people. So we will have all of Udo's details in the show notes if you would like to connect with him. I know you have a website and you have an Instagram.
Yeah.
Best way for people to get a hold of you?
2 websites. Yeah. 2 websites, 1 Instagram, 2 Facebooks.
And countless books. How many books have you written now?
The Total Sexy Health is my 5th.
5th book. Wow.
The other 4 are all fat related.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on Kitty Talks. We really, really appreciate it. And,
right. Thank you. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you being an amplifier.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Like sharing, stories like yourself, other thought leaders, had so many thought leaders, the message is clear between people, but people, I believe that we need, the more we hear it, the more we believe it, the more we believe it for ourselves.
Yeah, in different ways.
Yeah. And some people say that I get feedback and they say, oh, that episode just popped. Like, I really got it now,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But thank you so much. This podcast was sponsored by my Do Your Dharma course. Create a life so good that you pinch yourself. This 8-week online course demystifies Dharma and shows you how to tune in to why you're really here. Go to www.kittytalks.com/do your Dharma.